Welcome to Car Sales Talk 101, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is. Here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Car Sales Talk 101. I'm Terry Cameron. Thanks for hanging out with me again this week. Before we get this episode started, other than reminding you to go to Apple Podcast or whatever platform you listen to this to and give me a rating and write a review, I'd like to respond to a couple of the emails that I've been getting and explain to you that I cannot answer some of these questions in an episode because every state, every dealership group has their own rules, regulations, and in some cases laws. So I have to be very careful on the advice that I give. But I do appreciate you asking me these questions and telling me about these issues, and I appreciate the confidence you have in me by asking those questions. I will get back to each and every one of you in an email, and if I can answer some of them in an episode, you'll know that I did it. So before we get started, again, I want to thank you for listening, and I want to talk about a couple different things. And the first thing today I want to talk about is that first pencil. You know, with everything that's going on right now with the chip shortage, and depending upon when you're listening to this, if it's now in the in mid 2021, we all know about the chip shortage. But the supply and demand is at its highest. It is a seller's market, and hopefully we are making money because this is the time to do it. We all know that when it's not a seller's market, which is a lot of the time, it is tough to make a gross profit on a vehicle. So right now is the time to do it. So don't be afraid if you're a salesperson when that first pencil comes out to you to present it to the customer. Well, I guess I should also say if you're a manager, don't be afraid to send that pencil out the right way. And here's what I mean by the right way. Do not automatically go to 72 months, 84 months, and in some case 96 months. That doesn't make any sense to start at the longest terms, because if your customer is going to negotiate, what do you have to negotiate with that time other than the price? And that just doesn't make sense to be negotiating price right now. So if you're a sales manager, you need to send your pencil out there, a 36, 48, maybe 60 months. Now, I understand if it's a $50, $60, $70,000 truck, that may be a little scary when you send the payments out there at 48 months at $2,500 a month. But you'd be surprised how many people that are looking at those $50, $60, $70,000 vehicles expect to make those type of payments. And a lot of times, if we can explain it to them correctly, that it just makes more sense to do it that way because you're going to pay it off sooner, you're going to be in equity much sooner, and you'll be able to trade it in sooner. Not to mention, you're going to pay a lot less interest or finance charges over that time. So make sure you send it out there, but prepare your salesperson for it. Lip load them. Let them role play that pencil to you before they go out and they actually throw it at the customer. Send it out there. Ask for it all. Take what you can get. And as a salesperson, you need to have confidence in those numbers. You need to go out there and you need to expect them to say yes to one of the numbers that are on that piece of paper. And what do I mean by one of those numbers? Well, there's several things that you can talk about on there. I really don't think you should spend a lot of time on the tax, title, license, rebate savings, all of that. I think you talk about the selling price, and if there's a trade, the trade value, what they owe, the amount financed, and these are your payments, and you have to have confidence in those. Hopefully that first payment's going to have a 10 or a 5 or 10% down payment. And then you're going to have several other options, 5, 10, 15% down, 36, 48, and 60 months. And if I do my math correctly, that's 9 options that are going to be on that piece of paper when you're presenting it to the customer. But again, if you're not confident in those numbers, if you don't think they're going to say yes to it, you're going to have your tail between your legs and your customer is going to know it, and they're going to know there's room to move. So go out there and present it to them. And if you did your job when you're presenting that vehicle, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second, you should have confidence in those numbers. Those 9 figures, there's a really good chance that a customer is going to close on one of those numbers. If not, of course, we can always go to 66 or 72 months, or maybe we can mess with the rate a little bit. But the last thing we want to do is leave all options closed and have to work with lowering the price. Because at our dealership right now, there's no negotiating. I'm sorry, the price plus addendum is what you have to pay, because I think we have about 10% of what we normally have on the lot as far as inventory. So we can't replace that inventory. That means we need to make money on the cars that we have. Now, back to presenting the vehicle or presenting the figures. You need to make sure your job was done. And I stress this in a lot of my episodes. It has to be done up front. You got to do a good product presentation, a feature advantage and benefit presentation, a presentation on that vehicle that has to focus on what's important to the customer. Who's going to be driving it? How they're going to be using it? If you're not asking those questions, you're just going to give the canned presentation that every other salesperson does, and you're not going to be able to build the value that you're going to need when it comes to closing the customer on the payment. So you have to do a great job. Now, there's a bad word I'm getting ready to say, and I apologize right up front, but product knowledge. Product knowledge in today's car dealerships sucks. At least it does in mine. I can't tell you how many times I have salespeople, and I have to admit some of them are new, but some of them have been doing this for a long time, come to the desk and ask me about a vehicle and how it's equipped. And can I get this with this vehicle? If you don't know your product, how are you going to sell it? You have got to know your product. And some of us sell several different brands. Some of us sell new and pre-owned, but you need to know everything about every vehicle in your lot. Now, I know that sounds intimidating and it sounds unrealistic, but it's not. I always tell everybody, all the cars on my lot they're all the same. Some just have a few more features than the others. And we work 9, 10, 12 hours a day. There's got to be some time for us to bone up on the product. I just had a conversation with one of my salespeople because they asked me to order a vehicle that's not available. Now, I would think that if you're selling a $60,000 vehicle, as this was, you would know a little bit about it. If you're coming to the desk and you're saying, hey, my customer wants this, 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 and this, and you didn't tell them that it didn't come with this, this, and this, you're just an order taker. You're just writing down whatever they want, bringing it to the desk, say, here, boss, get me one of these. My customer said they'll buy it, whether we even know if they can qualify or not. So we can't do that. You have to know your product. The easiest way to do this is spend 20 minutes every single day on one model every single day. Now, how hard is that? Just to find 20 minutes in your day, and I would probably recommend in the morning, to where you grab the brochure, you grab a YouTube video, you go to your manufacturer's training website, and you look at the information they have, and then you might even want to go sit inside that vehicle. Spend 20 minutes on that vehicle. For example, if you're selling Ford trucks, spend 20 minutes on an F-150 on Monday. And there's so many different options and so many different trim levels, you may want to spend another 20 minutes on Tuesday morning. You're going to take a day off that week, and Saturdays are usually busy, so we're talking about spending 20 minutes 4 days a week on a product that you sell. 20 minutes 4 days a week. Not a whole lot. That's just over an hour a week learning the product that you sell that puts food on your table. If you're not doing that, you're probably not in this for the long haul. This is just a job, not a career. If you want to make it a career, you're going to be the one that has all the answers. You're going to be the one that's going to be confident whenever you're presenting the vehicle, and you're going to be the one that's going to hit that customer with the highest down payment, shortest term, and you're going to expect them to buy it. And because you do that, there's going to be a lot of them that pay that first pencil, that put that big down payment down. And they want to do that because they feel confident in the vehicle they're purchasing, and feeling confident in the sales professional that helped them solve the problem they came in to solve today. Product knowledge is a bad word. You can't have it that way. You've got to spend the time. I always say you can lead a horse to water, you just can't make them drink. But it baffles me that we're going to go out there and we're going to make a presentation to a customer and ask them to buy a car that costs $40,000, and we don't know the first thing about it. If you want to learn how to present a car and build value and product knowledge, invite a Kirby vacuum cleaner salesperson to your house. We're talking about an $800 vacuum cleaner, and they give a $5,000 presentation. That's why they sell them for so much. Okay, so let's review real quick. You can't be afraid of the pencil. You have to go out there with a short-term, high down payment, monthly payment, and be confident that your customer is going to accept it or at least negotiate from that one and not the no down payment 72-month term. To set that all up, you have got to do a good presentation and feature advantage benefit presentation and demonstration with your customer. You've got to build the value. They've got to trust you. And the only way they're going to do that is if you look, act, and sound like a professional. 20 minutes a day. That's all it's going to take. Remember, the sky's the limit, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please rate it and write a review on Apple Podcast. We appreciate your valuable feedback. You can email Terry at 10minutesalestalk@hot.rr.com. And don't forget to share the show with a friend.